Welcome back to my channel. It's Krista here to do the weekly reading for the sign of Aquarius, Sun, Moon, and Rising. If you don't know your Moon and Rising sign, there is a link in the description box where you can find your whole birth chart. And that way, for additional messages for the week, you can always look at your Moon and Rising sign readings as well as your Sun sign reading today. So this is for Aquarius for the week of August 15th to August 22nd. We will be looking at general concerns regarding your sign today. I'll be asking, what does your sign need to know? And using the Wisdom of the Oracle Tarot here for your 5-card spread, and then drawing as always a card each from the Medicine Card Tarot and the Healing with the Angels Tarot. So whatever is most prominent in your life this week, I'll encourage you to apply these messages to, and hopefully you find them helpful and healing. So what does Aquarius need to know? All right, Aquarius, let's get a bird's eye view of what's going on in all these cards together here and what they sort of make up as a picture for the week in general. I actually believe, if I'm remembering correctly, that you had Go the Distance and Deep Knowing in last week's or the previous week's reading. So I think that this is something that's ongoing for you here. I think that you're spectacularly aware of something that most people take for granted is true, and you can see through something that most people can't. It could be leading to a sense of isolation, however, or feeling that you're misunderstood or not understood, or that you don't know kind of where to turn now. But that you're also feeling a little bit satisfied, not necessarily about that, but you're satisfied with the predicament that you're in because it could be the price to pay for this knowledge or for this awareness or knowing, if you will. I don't see you slowing down here, any activity or job or motivation, whatever momentum has been happening over the past couple of weeks here, Aquarius. I feel that that's going to continue. Like I said, you could be having to ask some questions about why you feel that you've been left alone at this time, or why you can't find people who can see through the veil, so to speak. So that's what's going on as a snapshot. Let's look at each card in their position, and then I'll hold them up to the camera so you get a better idea of what's going on in the card, symbol-wise and color. And if anything appeals to you, use your intuition and use that to your advantage. So we have the Deep Knowing in your central position, Aquarius. This is really all about true understanding about probably occult and esoteric knowledge or leanings or yearnings. None of this is going to be a lot of people might meet up with esoteric or occult knowledge and be really bothered by it or scoff at it or deny it or even be really scared by it. That was kind of me 10 years ago, or I would even say when I was younger, I wasn't scared of it as much because I didn't know how much power it has. And I think that's an element of it too. Maybe you're looking at something really innocently and not seeing how much power it really has, or you are looking at it face on, you completely understand how much power it has and it still doesn't fizz you. So if that's the case, good, because it's not supposed to. You're supposed to be able to work it to your advantage, and you're probably meeting this information or having it assimilate within your life in a really loving, positive way. I don't feel like you're being forced to do anything or anything is troubling you necessarily. Like I said, I think the only probable downfall to having this attitude toward this information or this concern or truth, if you will, is that it could feel a little bit isolating, or you might have to give a friendship up, or you might be knocked out of a friendship because they don't see things that way, at least this week, right? So try not to take that to heart if that's what's going on. In the energy you're just bringing into the week or leaving as you enter the week is go the distance. Like I said, this is a race card. This is not the race card, not the race card. You're in the middle of a race. It could be with yourself, right? It could be you've put a limit or a time limit or some sort of cap on what you're going to do once you assimilate this information, or now you've completed this study or discipline and you're going to start something else. That could very well be what's going on here as well. You're just coming to the end of something and you're willing to start something fresh. But I do feel like it's going to be within the same vein. It's just going to be another level, maybe another layer. But definitely a greater understanding. That's the basic premise of what's going on. And again, because of it's a general reading, this could be about a relationship, a job prospect, travel. It could be about an internal conflict. But I do see an esoteric influence involved. It could be something as simple as astrology, though, Aquarius. So, I mean, it doesn't have to be like crazy and outlandish and so odd that no one's ever heard of it before. I don't think it has to be like that. It could just be that someone doesn't see it the way you do, or it changes the way they see you because you see it that way. In the milk and honey card being in your what is working for you position, this is how I feel like you're completely confident and comfortable here. Nothing's really shaking you up. This is their nirvana card, right? It's really all just about like having everything fulfilled, your heart and your mind and your soul are fulfilled, or this is what you are yearning for. This is what you're in process of. And it's a beautiful goal to have. And if you are approaching it through an esoteric level, it's even more lovely, because I really feel when people do that, when people look at esoteric or occult information and knowledge, we're really undoing the lies, right? We're really looking at through the veil or beyond the veil, not taking things for granted, not taking things on their face. We're willing to look underneath. They're willing to dig a little deeper. And I think you might even get a lot of satisfaction from this. You might even feel, despite this type of like odd or eccentric viewpoint or way to go about education or knowledge, you might even feel perfectly comfortable there, as though it's your crew, or, like it's your crew. Those are your homies, and you really feel like you're able to relate to other people far more easily in this realm than in, the very structural, how are you, how are the kids type thing. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but certainly I feel like you're reaching far beyond that, and you don't find it, not that you dismiss it, but you're not going to find it exciting. You want to have exciting conversations. You're seeking excitement through the information and the knowledge process. So that's wonderful to see. In the what you may not know is available to you position is the yang, and this is where definitive action needs to be taken, particularly this week, or at least something is available for you to take action. And maybe it's just putting knowledge into action necessarily. For whatever reason, you are holding yourself back from doing that. You may not feel prepared, or it's not the right time. Maybe you want to finish what's the first step or the first level before going into this. What you're willing to put into practice here, but there doesn't appear to be a rush necessarily or a hurry. If you are feeling comfortable and confident within this environment, I would just continue going the way you're going. and don't rush anything here. So it is available to you though. So if there is an opportunity for a discussion around this concern, concept, notion, etc., then maybe this is the week to do it. It looks like somebody else could be open to it here, or it could be that you're profoundly aware of something and you can speak easily to it. And with regard to your probable outcome card, it could lead to a sense of isolation, as I said at the start. Why are you being dismissed? Why are your thoughts or beliefs being dismissed? Why is it not comfortable with someone else? Just be sure here that this is a reality and not strictly a feeling. This would be the only caveat with the orphaned card, just making sure that this is a reality, and yes, make sure that conversation has been had, if that's what's going on, before you go and say it's over, or we don't want to talk anymore if it ends badly, for example, or if someone doesn't get your perspective. Make sure you don't talk yourself into isolation here, and that you remain open and that you share this excitement and this knowledge with as many people who will listen. Find your tribe, so to speak, this week. In the deep knowing, like I mentioned, we have 2 moons and a really calm, relaxed barn owl. Her eyes are actually closed. So there's nothing to prey on here. I think an owl's eyes, when opened in a photograph or in imagery, means that they're on the hunt. Technically, when the eyes are closed, they're really settled. They could even be sleeping. So you're feeling really settled here, really confident, really calm. Anything having to do with the moon, we're looking at occult issues. We're looking at things having to do with the 4th house. Of course, Cancer rules the 4th house, or the 4th house rules Cancer, however you look at that. There could be a Cancerian involved here, or issues around the 4th house, which is mother, family, nurturing, the moon, psychic ability, and of course, as I mentioned at the very beginning, occult or esoteric sciences. In the energy you're just leaving behind or bringing into the week, like I mentioned, I feel like you're just about to reach the pinnacle of something here, and maybe you just feel calm and comfortable for a little while first. Make sure that you keep going though. This could be another element of feeling stuck if you don't keep going with something. Make sure that it's the end of a layer or a chapter, so to speak, but that you do keep going and you don't shut everything else off. In the milk and honey card, like I mentioned, this is nirvana. It's pure fulfillment. One of the major obvious sights here, of course, is the rainbow. There is a sense of a prism, maybe being exposed to a true light, being exposed to, like I mentioned at the very start, this information that you see through now. You don't just see it as a beam of light. It's reached a certain part of that, that gem, that triangle that it exhibits the rainbow on the other side. So that's what I see going on here, that you're seeing through something, but it's adding a lot of excitement to your life, and you really feel happy about this, and really feel like it is enhancing your life. And what you may not know is available to you, certainly, like I mentioned here, with regard to keep going. I think it is important to keep going to the next chapter. If you need to rest in your new knowledge, or decide how you're going to apply it or put it into practice, that's one thing, but certainly keep going. I would make an attempt at applying a portion of this week, however, and don't let someone else's attitude hold you back. If this is an external influence, if someone is mocking or not understanding where you're coming from for whatever reason, or if this is internal, where you're saying, I can't keep doing this, I feel like it's getting me nowhere, or I don't really know how to apply this, don't give up on it this week. Really look within. If you know other people who are interested in the same subjects, maybe reach out and ask for advice. For whatever reason, you do feel left behind, isolated, or you are isolating someone else or leaving someone else behind. If it's for your highest good, Aquarius, and I mean if you're, psychically, psychologically, mentally, spiritually more well off without, that type of gray cloud in your universe this week. Maybe let it go, at least for the week. Or if there's a difficult conversation that can be put off for a week, maybe consider putting it off. However, if there's someone who has been put off during this phase of your life and they require you to reach out, or a reunion is necessary here, maybe be the first one to extend the olive branch, so to speak. Not that there's a fight necessarily, but that if you make the first move here, you could assist someone not feeling so isolated. And certainly, if you are feeling isolated, make the first move and have a conversation about other things, even if they're not that exciting to you right now, just so that you can maintain some relationships this week and you're not completely, intellectually or purely cerebral this week. You want to maintain relationships and have these types of encounters this week. You don't want to feel too alone, and you don't want to isolate someone else. Okay, with the Ant, this is the card of patience. This is honestly, I really truly feel associated with the Orphaned card this week, just because either you're going to have patience with yourself at this time, or with someone else, or you're going to have to ask for it from someone else. But needless to say here that there doesn't appear to be a rush of any kind. If you can, take your time with it. And like I mentioned, if you're at the end of something here and you're about to apply it, maybe do that work first. Like finish up everything that you started first and then move on to something else. Because I think it'll make you feel more confident moving on as well, more secure. And you'll be able to see the fruits of your labor as well. You'll be able to see something put into practice, and maybe even have an aha moment at the end of that. But patience is called for this week. Certainly if someone is picking on you for neglecting them or isolating them or making them, or if you've gotten a new group of friends, or like a book club or a social group or something, and someone feels left out, maybe it's a good time to address that with them this week. You don't have to do it accusingly, but you can certainly just reach out in a friendly way. That's where I'm reading the Yang down here, where a definitive action can be taken. I'm just looking for one more card here. Sweet. So new love is your final card. This could even be the process here. The process is a new love, or leads to a feeling of higher understanding, a greater love for yourself, for wisdom, for the people in the world in general. It's really non-ego when we're looking at platonic or romantic love. However this plays out for you this week, it's the opposite of the ego, right? It's the willingness to give. It's the willingness to understand. So remember, whether this is about another person, yourself, an actual love interest, or what's going on here in your esoteric world, that it could feel so exciting that you'll treat it like a love, or it'll be so exciting that you'll consider it something that you do love and you'll carry with you, and it gives you a lot of strength. So yeah, just remember to look at the bright side this week. Don't get bogged down in anything that you've been learning. Certainly stay excited with it. Recognize that if someone is feeling left out, you can do the reaching out this week. There's no hurry for that conversation or for something to go fix itself this week, but certainly you can reach out and sort of let it be. And remember, if you're feeling isolated for any reason, take comfort in other individuals or a community which may have the same interests as you at this time. So that concludes your reading. Let me know how this works out for you this week. I'm genuinely curious, Aquarius. And if you're not already, make sure you subscribe to my channel, because I upload videos for your sign every single week. So until we meet next time, take good care. Bye for now.